down the flankers.
I think it's always one of the best options against a dive is to have a Roadhog who can hit hooks. Now your other option is usually to run a McCree, but he's been a bit of a milk carton status lately. Not a whole lot of McCree been busted out here, so it really comes down to the hooks early in if the Roadhog can hit those. He misses the early hook. He was trying to take down Coffee. Coffee's just going to jump down and get all the creep damage, and anti-heal comes down. Decop out of the fight already.
Decop getting isolated once more. Different team, same story so far. EG's getting a lot of progress to the payload as P-Mitsu serves up some scrap to Fozix early on, so it's still not the worst for EG, even down to Reinhardt. They are getting flanked from all sorts of angles here, and yet they're making this a brawl. They're working through it right now, and if they're able to come out on top, they're going to have a huge advantage of pushing second. There's the hook on the Coffee, down he goes, and EG now with a bit of an advantage.
It's worked out very well for them. Goliath, of course, has been mostly a Zenyatta in what we've seen, but his Ana play has really come to life. Already about to have the boost, and they just bully their way through the high ground. There is a pulse bomb onto the cart that will take down Peeve, but that is going to be one of the only kills they have. The aggression here up top as they're going to push out the Zenyatta, too.
This has been very ground and pound for EG. They didn't go for anything cutesy over the top. They just brought it through Carb Wash and used the meatiness of their composition to get through, and it's been working. Last-ditch effort coming in here from the defense to try and pull this back, but that is a tight corner and a very angry Winston as Corey goes to town. Late Dragon Blade coming out here from Marina, trying to pull it back, grabs two, but gets hooked in by Roadhog and might be able to do something at 17 HP. A mere sneeze will take him out here.
Yeah,
that's gonna be it.
Rena and McGravy were back on the cart trying to fight this, and Sane also was trying to, Sane rather, and he will go down late, so the grounded pound working out really well for him. You can't say enough about Goliath. The fact that he had the boost up ready in time to give it to that Winston early shows you how much he was doing early on, and now this really, it's one of the most important pushes in all of Overwatch, your first push on Gibraltar after you take the first point, and defense in a decent enough position. They were kind of high ground, but hooked, slept, deleted is Rena.
Peep has been effective so far in the Roadhog, and Decop might have a chance for sweet, sweet redemption here in a moment. Earthshatter is up, and the circumstances are up here for a good Earthshatter and Hex. This might be coming in off the top rope. He's surveying the ground, dropping in, and there it is! It's a beautiful Earthshatter by Decop. He would be proud in the WWE with plays like that.
It's a beautiful start to that. Rena has gone on to the Reaper of all things. He's trying to find a hero he can be effective on. It's not been a great game for him so far, but Peeve again is a monster on this hog. Will end up finishing out Coffee there, so beautiful tank play, tank ultimates. They are rolling through with this heavy tank composition.
Oh man, I just can't get over it. That was a beautiful Earthshatter. Actually, the fall through wasn't really there as much as it should have been, but it did do enough damage for them to get through. That's also just, what do you think when you have a 600-pound German man jumping off of something and dropping a hammer? The Earthshatter probably should have had a more significant effect, but next fight is underway here. Evil Geniuses, again, taking the ground and pound option. Peep in the back, should be whole hogging in moment, and doesn't even need to. It's two quick kills from the dive, and EG's in a great position now, Hex.
Rena has no idea what he wants to do. He comes up on McCree this time. It's his fourth hero in as many fights, and he gets eliminated very early. These tanks have come to play. They are crushing this team, and Rena will switch again. Fifth hero so far, now on Genji.
And now look at this. Peep is just gonna walk up and drop the whole hog. Mountains of scrap into the spawn point to just keep everyone back. First he sends Decop for a ride. Now he's just gonna dive right in and hold things back. Oh. It's two quick kills from Decop and just a good setup.
Yeah, Coffee's the only one really alive on this card. The kill feed all blood red, and there's the self-destructive zone out and close out. A blistering fast time on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
New record!
Score.
Someone has been playing far too much Mario Kart, Flame.
It's actually
Just so you
Mario
know.
Party voice, but they just kind of deathballed. There was nothing crazy there. I mean, their strategy was pretty straightforward. We're just going to put 4 tanks on the cart and let it roll, and it wound up working out really well. I mean, Decop hit that crazy from above shatter and then wound up charging to the enemy spawn, got sleep darted in the health pack on the other side of the map after you praised how great of a play it was, but it wound up not mattering. A lot of wasted ults on the side of EnVision. I think that you need to just accept that you're going to get rolled for the first 2 points and then try to make a really good stand on third instead of trying to all in on second. But I think they needed to just swap up to like maybe a Zarya and or a Roadhog of their own just to hit some, like just a bubble off these hooks coming out from P-Mitsu.
I mean, one of the biggest issues for EnVision is that they decided to go Zen out on defense, which can be pretty strong on Gibraltar, especially if you put the Zen and the Ana at glass. You can shoot down to the bottom of the bridge. But they lose first fight, and when you lose first fight with Ana Zen, you don't have Lucio to get back to spawn. That caused them all to get spawn killed in second. Then they got snowballed through all of second. Then Rina decides to go Reaper without Lucio, which is a really difficult thing to do. That did not work out well. And then after all that, Fire finally goes Lucio at the very end, and there's just no time.
I agree with your point, Sasha, but I will say that you are letting go of your push to talk too early. So we're just hearing, like, we're hearing most of the point, and then it cuts off at the very end.
Noted.
Just hold that button down.
Noted.
Hold that button down.
I think just Rina in general showed you how confused they were on how to deal with the quad tank. He switched on to every hero under the sun, trying to find any sort of answer, and it's a microcosm of that they had no answers. And I think a lot of it is, you're correct, not running the Lucio there can be very difficult without the AoE heals and just not hitting darts, and really a lot of it is just Peeb hitting nearly everything. And he combined so well with Goliath that he was hitting hooks, and they were guaranteeing the kill on it, because the hook was always followed up by a sleep dart, and they were just deleting targets. There was a crazy amount of momentum, and no answers at all from EnVision.
All right, well, we got some chicanery going on here, because look at Decop. There's a lot of places where we've seen dive offenses be folding forward here, but we have Secret Agent Reinhardt. First, he's jumping off shuttles. Now, he's just casually putting himself in vision of the shuttle. Not quite as crazy of ambush as I was expecting. Now he's Discord orbed, and now he's dead. All right. Well,
it was a cool
not
story.
According to plan.
I think a couple kills coming out here, at least for the very aggressive offense, and despite Decop going down early, they've done enough to bring this back. Decop should be able to get back in here, and so far it's working out a little bit.
Decop has unlocked title of the bait, because even though he did die, it did give enough of a distraction that the rest of EG was able to make that a decent fight, salvage it out. I still think they're gonna have to back out a bit here, but it's not a bad opening. That said, Decop, under pressure from McGravy, under pressure from a Genji at the same time, and he goes down, not going to get pulse bomb that time. So EnVision's still finding ways of picking off kills and keeping this payload moving forward.
Yeah, Saini on the Widow was able to get a really nice shot onto the opposing Tracer as well. Kayun again, like, just dies before he has EMP. Will have it up for this fight though, so uncharacteristic to see a Sombra defense on Gibraltar of all maps, but we'll see if he can get it to work. He's in position, EMP go down.
EMP comes in, McGravy right now looking for his ability to get back in, finds Mitsu, and this still isn't bad for EnVision. EMP or no EMP, they're handling this fight rather well on mechanics, and they should be able to take down Kayan, and they do just that. So EnVision getting the kills they need to, now to numerical advantage checks, and they should be able to punch this in so long as this tac visor doesn't do that much, and Corey's having a tough time actually finding good targets here.
Well, he has to jump away from the Winston, but then the Transcend comes down, and that tac visor is all but over, and a couple of quick kills, both supports now down. That should spell the end of this defense.
Corey right now is fighting soldier v soldier, but not going to win that fight, and even if he did win that fight, I'm not sure it would change the fate of everything else that's going on. Just too many members of EnVision alive. They're gonna punch this one straight in, and now the question is, who's stuck in the spawns? The answer is, far too many people. McGravy and Saini right there at the follow-through. And we see EnVision just diving in to take a good advantage. Goliath wishing he had some form of mobility there. Not gonna happen, and just free kills coming in from McGravy as this payload keeps moving for EnVision.
I guess no one wants to play defense on Gibraltar today, and again, it's Corey's going to be switching to the McCree, trying to find some sort of answer to the composition that they're running here. And McCree can be good if you're not going to run a Roadhog especially. Defense will get one kill, trade out early on. Corey, again, finds a nice headshot. I think McCree can be an answer to the flanker defense, you just don't see it all that often.
Well, Corey's McCree in particular is extremely good. We saw how he was able to shut down NRG's flankers just in the last monthly melee, and Corey's a threat on McCree. He's something that you're going to have to dive and deal with here, because if you leave him to his devices, he will deal with both your Tracer and Genji rather effectively.
He does just that right there, and now this is a great position for a defense to have the main hangar door shut. You have your option of 1 through 4 small corridors. You're going to eat a lot of damage incoming no matter what, unless you put your diva in there first, and then she's going to have defense matrix down. They have to find a way to come in. They all choose different doors. This is a good way to try to enter, and they will take top of the shuttle with both tanks.
Transcendence is going to come up to make that attack visor ineffective, and Corey right now just staying with the rest of his team, using numbers to his advantage, not letting himself get isolated out, not doing that much damage-wise right now, but EG isn't really getting thrown away. Now he's able to flank back, and it's a golden McCree opportunity if he connects, and he takes down Fire to start things out.
And both tanks went in for the offense up top, but it was 2v6, and they had all the tools they needed up there. Arena is going to bust out the Dragon Blade trying to bring this back.
While this is going on, they still have a McCree infestation in the back. He donned his Cloak of Invisibility, bopped Sadie, and shut down McGravy's method of escape. And again, this is the power of McCree, where when you get him into cleanup situations, he's very strong. Rena right now lucky to get away with his life.
Yeah, Corey's been an issue for them trying to deal with it. The one way you can really pressure him down is to send both flankers at him, and hopefully he misses the flashbang, or that he gets the flashbang reflected, something like that, but they don't have 2 flankers right now. They only really have Rena. They're not running the Tracer on it. So they're looking for answers here now that you're stalled out, and they're going to run a Widow, which can be good to try to get that entry kill at the very least.
I do like the Widow swap here. I think Widow against McCree is actually very favorable for Widow. It makes it very difficult for the McCree to play in areas that he wants to. He has to shift to corner play a lot more. He can't be anywhere near as free, so I think this is a good counter swap by EnVision. The question is whether or not Saini is going to be able to pull it off, which is easier said than done when you're not always playing Widow. Still, open shots here in the Corey, takes him down. The problem is that a lot of EnVision is already dead here, but doesn't matter. Saini piling on the shots with the tank support, and this should be an opportunity to push in second.
It's an opportunity to actually force out a Transcendence really early from Alkia, who's just going to go on the cart and try to pressure it. Saini with the double headshot. 2 kills quick for him, and the switch was brilliant and executed perfectly.
Widow is one of the best heroes you can swap to when you have a problem with very aggro 76s and McCrees, because they're great hit scan heroes, but in terms of hit scan battles, Widow is the queen of hit scan, and Saini showing why as he piles on. Very big advantage here for EnVision on top of the payload. They only need a little bit more, as really it's EG trying to stall things out. That said, we've seen EG stall game. I'm not going to say this fight is over yet, but it is looking rather in that direction as Rena piles on to the back.
They got nothing out of that tactical visor, too. Brilliant play by McGravy, who was behind him the whole time, putting the Matrix all over him. Got 0 out of it. The Blade will come out.
The Blade comes out, and I'm not sure it was necessary here, but they just want to deal with the stall immediately. We know that EG can stall for ages, and in fact, Corey takes down Rena, buys a little bit more time than should be, and this EG stalls again rather nutty, where even in a fight that was lost, I would say about a minute ago, they were able to drag quite a bit of time out of that.
It does allow your defense to now get in a decent position and will prevent some of those really terrible spawns from happening and prevent some of this snowball, but the offense has been so aggressive. This is something we've seen on Gibraltar more recently than we used to, of offenses getting that second point and then just trying to immediately take the high ground, leaving 1 or 2 back to try to push, and they so far have it. They will get a pulse bomb in onto McGravy, but he's still alive.
McGravy just getting healed up with style. Fozix all over that, gets him right back up to 600. But the problem is that the back line was just utterly eviscerated, so even though he lives, that's a problem. The Ana was focusing all the healing on the McGravy, wasn't available for everyone else, so there's only so much you could do in a single fight. That said, EnVision with 1 minute left to punch this one in, and I think a lot will come down to how McGravy positions this upcoming self-destruct.
It can be very good on this map, up over the corners here, up onto that high ground. That's exactly where he's going to put it. He will evict everyone from the high ground. In fact, evicts Goliath to the grave.
Goliath, one of the best picks he could get there. The healing output for the defense not really going to be there, which means P-Mitsu immediately taken out of his mech. Big opportunity here for Saini, but the turnabout is happening in here. Kayun dropping the tac visor, not getting the targets he needs, and gonna have to be pushed back.
McGravy is going to boop him off of the high ground too before he ends up getting demeched by Kayun. So high ground now evacuated from the defense. It's going to be all a low ground fight here as they try to come back in. Sound barrier for the offense, try to close this out. A nice bop from Coffee does not get them over the edge though.
Meanwhile, you take a look at Rena, has a Dragon Blade up for the defense and now pops it out, taking down Kayun with 2 swipes. Should be able to demech Diva here in just a moment. So not as clean as they might have liked, but we will see EnVision able See what they do here. They're pushing back in. Wait, Earth Shatter comes in from Decomp, and suddenly, life in this EG defense yet.
Life will see. He gotta start getting some kills in the kill feed, though. The problem is Saini's on the high ground. This is where Soldier would like to buy a vacation home if he could at the end of Gibraltar, because this is where he gets most of his action done, and it should still be a closeout here, even though it's an overtime. Decop's gonna come in again, boost right past the cart, and yeah, that's a capture.
Complete.
All right, EnVision coming right back in.
Score.
I think it continues to show the most impressive part about EG is their stalling tactics. I mean, really, you were right, ZP. EnVision should have had second point 1 minute closer than to what they did. And then EG was even able to stall out at the very end, where they had no business staying alive.
Let me ask you this directly, where obviously they're doing things to make the stalling better. It's not just, oh, they're just stalling better. Do you think it's just that EG recognizes when a fight is going poorly and they swap into stalling mode sooner? Going back to the idea that sometimes in NA you have a lot of teams where they try and win out everything, where EG, more so than other teams, is willing to say, we're going to lose this, but let's stall it out.
They're really good at regrouping at spawn, and then I think something that's kind of underrated is choosing the right path after you get out of spawn. Because sometimes one favorable area is always spawn camped more often than the other. And I've seen a few times where they've gone out the other end and they've been able to sneak in and get on the point, and that allows everyone else to get in. So they're very good at being able to regroup at spawn and make sure that the right people are going in ahead, mainly being the tanks and the dive comp, to at least touch it and to delay it.
Yeah, I mean, that said, their offense was so clean that any amount of stall was just beneficial to them. Even if they didn't drag out the clock there, they still had 5 minutes now to 1. So even if they were taking losing fights, as long as the cart was slowing down, it was still going to help them in the long run for this overtime round.
Well, we are back in Gibraltar, and in the Chronicles of Secret Agent Decop, he's not going to be quite as aggressive this time. EG holding it a little bit further back, and yet already Decop in a tough position, getting swarmed on all sides. He is getting killed up all the while, though, so he is playing the bait rather well, and while he's doing that, Corey finds McGravy, and EG takes advantage, so the fact that everyone dove in on Decop actually worked against them there.
I think you're right. He's just playing the bait, and it's not the glory position at all, and he's actually died really early in a lot of these fights, but there's a lot of times where you want a Reinhardt to play a certain way that does not look great to the spectator, but if your team knows what you're doing and plays around it, you can absolutely clean it up. He's down here alone now on the point as the dive came in over top of him. He's going to get doubled up on again.
And yet he finds Sani with the charge, still alive and in this fight. Still, the offense making some inroads here, and the last thing you want from EG is to lose this fight and have a crazy overtime push come at you, and yet, off of those 2 kills by Rina, that might be what's happening. Decop going to fall here, and D.Va will as well. So EnVision now with the opportunity to make up time. They are out of time, but this is where time is manufactured out of midair if they can just win the next fight and keep the momentum going forward.
They should be able to at least stall, because Primal Rage will be up. Now, the big ultimate to watch, as it often is going to be Blade. Rena's got it. He's just waiting for the right position, and I think you just hold it until they maybe press the issue. They have to get on the cart and try to stall it out. Corey will blink in and do just that, but now here comes the aggression from Coffee. Is up to the side, and you have to mention Rena will be following it up. Here's a Blade.
Rena moving in. The Blade is unleashed. Oh, gets slept immediately! It's a beautiful sleep by Goliath that opens up KO now to use the Nano Visor and finish out the rest of the fight. What a beautiful sleep dart to finish that out.
He's been hitting those all match since he's been playing on this map. He's been just nailing darts. It's been a good day for Goliath.
Oof.
I mean, that
5
defense, yeah, I mean, there's pretty much a 0% chance that they are able to win this. And honestly, I think they're going to have, if they're going to win any chance, I think they should go back to the same gambit of Ana Zen defense that they tried earlier and try to snowball from there.
Really, I go harder. I go like Orisa.
Close beta flame?
I mean, they can hold
What
server room with
Gibraltar
the shield gen
defense?
forever. You got to get the shield gen and then you just chill. That's the plan. A Mei
mean-
with shield gen? Oh my god.
No matter what they
350
do,
HP.
it's going to be really hard.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
especially for EG, I liked how close they were playing with Ana Zen and double hit scan. They finally got overwhelmed by D.Va in the very end, but because they held so close, they weren't negated so much by not having Lucio because they were able to take high ground for the second push. And then, as you saw, Goliath hitting a clutch sweep.
I think the problem is, because honestly with Flame strategy is not like terrible, maybe not that hero composition, but just chilling in server room. But the problem is that Cart is in a place where if it were 20 meters further, you could play server room defense. I don't think you can in the position that the Glory Yellow Box of Victory is.
EG right now moving forward, plenty of time on their side here, so they could lose this fight. They could lose this fight multiple times over and still have plenty of time to move things forward. That said, it's probably a good thing that they have that time reserved, because EnVision is doing a pretty good job of holding things back here, and yet EnVision doesn't have a choice. They have to be this aggressive to give themselves breathing room and a second fight should they lose the first fight.
Coffee has made some sort of deal with a Necromancer at some point, because he should have been dead 3 or 4 times during this fight, but regardless, he is still alive, and they get the blade early on from Rina, who gets 4.
It's a good hold by EnVision, but unfortunately, no matter how good they must feel about winning that fight, they have to look at the timer and go, 4 minutes? Really? 4 minutes? That's a longer time than you have to hold for a standard first point hold here, and the Yellow Box victory is closer. It's gonna be difficult.
It's just 4 more pushes. Just you have to win 4 more fights in dominant fashion. Not that big of a deal. They do have that huge ultimate advantage because how well that first fight went for them.
This has to be a junk rush here for EG. EG is not really well equipped, and Saini just gonna pile on over the top. The nanovisor is in, and yet it's a questionable nanovisor. They're able to get in the car wash safely. It's effectively wasted because EnVision just jumped the gun. So EG now, they get to drop the sound barrier and counter engage, and this could be very big for them as they try and push this through.
But Transcend will come down to help everyone out. A huge pulse bomb eliminates all of the healing on the offense there. McGravy with a 3K. Only 1 kill in turn from Decop. So defense, they've done it yet again. The problem is, maybe
Why?
Because Rina bothered them a lot?
It actually works out. It's fine. In this case, it works out. The respawns are right there. Normally, it's like your entire team died, but in this case, it works because respawns are right there. So it actually will cut them through and remove that 1 fight buffer. And actually, this is a case where EnVision, they have to immediately come right back in.
They do, and Corey's they're going to have the stall here if they want to. That's going to be popped by Coffee. McGravy, another double bomb! Oh my god!
McGravy's bombs are on point. Here comes the Dragon Blade from Rina. EnVision not going down here just yet.
So careful though right now. This Primal Rage was going to try to pop it and get everyone off the cart, but Saini comes in at the very end, able to hold it down. It's been McGravy just clutching these bombs out. Now, 2 minutes and about 10 meters to go.
I just want to note that it's not gravy, it is McGravy.
Okay, well.
Not that we've been saying McGravy the entire time, but I just feel like the epicness of the name requires a little
Hey, he's going
reverence
for
is all.
that endorsement, the stealth endorsement tactic.
Hey man, gravy companies have huge money. Ever hear why they call it Big Gravy? Either way, Saini in the back, holding on to Tac Visor. This is really good positioning here for EnVision. That said, he's got a nano boosted Winston in his face, but he doesn't care. He's just gonna ignore the Winston, dive in with the nano visor of his own, and look to get at least 1 more kill, and makes it a double. A beautiful Helix rocket to help seal that out.
This is now getting stressful for them too. You have to think, they had 5 minutes, 90 seconds remain, should be time for 2 fights. McGravy does toss him the old pulse bomb on the way out, so Goliath down. So that late kill might end up meaning 1 fight into this, and they should be able to get something from the Dragon Blade. Rina's been playing a much better Genji so far at this stage, and they have a Transcend, so man, this is getting rough for EG.
EG is gone with all their mulligans here. They have no more reserve. And now you look at Rina, in over the top, has a Dragon Blade, and oh no, so many targets to be slashed, but the whole hog pushes him back. Pimitsu, the hero play, the keep all of EG alive. They turn that room to their advantage, and now suddenly they have a big potential. McGravy goes down. Peep has dealt with both flankers, and it's EnVision in the hot seat after what could have been an incredibly epic hold. Now they have to get the last few kills to actually make that dream a reality.
Well, Sadie, no one even sees him up top. He was getting so much damage on him. He doesn't have to evacuate his post up there. Unfortunately, he has to go down onto the cart, and Urshitter will come down, not find a whole lot of dirt. All red in the kill feed. It is only Rina trying to bring this back all by his lonesome. Does not look like they're going to be able to do it. Nope, EG will close out the map.
On one hand, if you just told me the result of this, I'd go, yeah, of course EG won. They had so much time.
Right.
But then when you actually watch what happened, that's a little heartbreaking for EnVision because it was a truly epic defense for a really long period of time on first, and it just fell short by the slimmest of the beautiful Lijiang Tower opening up on the garden stage. And Hex, what are we seeing between these two teams? Because it looks like we're already going to have a pretty stark difference in play styles between the two.
Well, I think Slasher's absolutely right. Saini, maybe not a lot of people know him, but his hero pool is just insane because you saw him running the Widow earlier and his hit scan has been on point. A very good hit scan player, but also a good projectile player. Can play Genji, can play Pharah at pretty high levels. To me, it's a micro battle here where it's going to be Corey and Goliath who have to try to deal with the combination, but there's so many good places for a Pharah Mercy to just hide and peek around that if they don't get it done early, they're going to be in trouble.
All right, so the defense here, or the offense rather, of EnVision on the way out, and Saini taking to the skies immediately, and this is always the part where Pharahs really love getting early knockoffs, and doesn't quite get it here to begin with, but it's good positioning for EnVision. They're pushing the offense of EG back rather heavily, and they just out-engage them early on, and the boop, for good measure, sends Goliath into the drink.
It's an interesting composition here for EG. They're running Decop onto the Diva here, and it's the only tank that they're running. It's mostly to be able to deal with all the incoming damage from that combo composition, but despite getting an early kill onto Kha'Zix, the rest of the team's just out there cleaning up and holding the first point as Pharah is so much better than trying to cap it as Pharah, so now you already have to give the advantage to EnVision.
Given that Corey is really the only truly effective person to deal with the Pharah here, how much pressure is this putting on Corey to deal with this, where he's probably going to have McGravy in his face for most of this? I feel like Corey's in Mission Impossible right now, and he's just immediately dove on, taken out of the fight as public enemy #1, and that frees up the skies for Saini.
Kayun is trying to get a little bit of work done here. He will take down the Lucio, but it is still in EnVision's favor as they come back, clean up another couple there.
Goliath is getting well acquainted with that koi pond. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, Corey's gonna be careful. He's out here all alone now trying to 1v1 Rina. That does not work out because an errant rocket will come down from the distance in that support, so way too far out there, maybe trying to get some damage in and maybe Hero take down the combo, but I think the first time they're gonna be effectively able to deal with the combo is probably when Corey's ultimate comes up, and even then he might have McGravy in his face.
There's so many ultimates up for EnVision. Everything is on deck right now, and this could create a very bad trade here for EG, where EG blows a decent amount of their ultimates to try and go in, only to get stymied by the resurrection. But no, Kha'Zix goes down, no res is going to come in, and ultimates were still blown here for EnVision, so this is turning out to be a rather poor engage for EnVision, as the engagement of EG really does catch them off guard.
They might be able to stall this out at the very least. They're going to sound barrier here. I don't think they got the Diva there just around the corner out of line of sight there, but they do have Rina still alive. They have some tanks back in here. It was so close to being a really cool self-destruct. You just bowl it through that alley, but they're still on this point, and despite probably losing it, the late res though, they can win this right now.
Kha'Zix comes back in, resurrects the dead, and EnVision able to stall things out just enough for respawns to come back in, and it ends up working out for them. Corey, last moment tac visor coming out, most of it going to be fed right into the Mauve Diva, so Corey not getting the kills in the back he wants, but while McGravy is trying to deal with Corey, it's Pimitsu who goes crazy in the back line, picking up 2 and opening the way. So EG, in the end, though it was effectively stalled out for a long time, they do take what was an incredibly long fight.
It's Tracer's world. We're just living in it right now, as these Tracers for every team have been carries at certain points. Now it becomes a little more difficult because you have to try to get in with your combo here with the Pharah Mercy, and Decop just eating every one of these rockets. They will almost knock Fire off the edge. He stays in though, 6v6 remake.
Pimitsu finding coffee in the back, and this has been the Pimitsu show where he's had a lot of room to work with, hasn't really had people on him, and the space he's been given, he's been taking advantage. That said, the resurrection comes in here from EnVision, but it doesn't matter. They get rezzed up only to die again. Corey, under no pressure whatsoever, finds Saini, and EG holds on for another fight.
It's really going to be about how can they initiate into this. They've had a hard time because this is one of the more difficult maps, regardless of the composition you're running, to be able to find a way in. Do you go through Mega Room, but then get, you're fighting in a hallway at that time? Do you try to come in over top? But it looks like they're going to rotate towards Mega, and they're going to put Saini over the top to provide a little bit of cover while they do so. Kayun is in the back, has to be a little bit careful.
McGravy drops the self-destruct towards the back. It's a flanking attack visor. No, he's not even able to get back into his mech. EG, the engagement working out for them. 3-1 in their favor, and suddenly for EnVision, this is looking rather tough indeed because they're down to their final fight here, Hex.
Final fight, and a couple of late ultimates came out. Generally, I don't really mock a pulse bomb for coming out in any certain situation, but I have to ask, even if that pulse bomb lands and you get 2, is it going to be enough? They're going to be back in time to fight full 6. Now you just don't have it for the next fight. Primal and Barrage, they're going to open Sound Barrier.
Sound Barrier comes in, Saini, Justice raining from above, not quite getting what he wants because of Transcendence, ruins his day. He gets taken down by the self-destruct, and EG still very much in this fight. Up a player here, now up 2 players as Rina gets on the wrong end of Lucio's Sound Blaster. So this is going from bad to worse for EnVision, and after being up 99-0 just about, it's looking like EG has brought this one back.
I mean, it really is the difference of how good Farah is when you have it and when you don't have it. And Kha'Zix tries to come in and clutch the resurrection, unable to do so. EG will take the first stage away from EnVision.
For me, I really just look at Pmitsu and say that was a gem of a Tracer game. Corey played the bait at times, but anytime people weren't looking at Peeb, he was able to come in and make EnVision pay dearly. Flame, thoughts?
I really don't like the Mercy. I mean, they've been running it and it seems like it's working, but even the res that they did get off that round wasn't too convincing. I think the Mercy died during the beginning of the fight and they wound up making like some heroic plays on the point, and then she came in late to get the res off. I think as soon as you lose the point, if you don't have res, you should just swap immediately. They should have just gone to the 76 and the Zen or something, because they did take a lot of really good like economy pushes with no ult usage, but at the end they still didn't have that second res that they might have needed, so I question whether or not it was worth staying on it.
I mean, yeah, Kayn and Pmitsu were doing such a good job of focusing Kha'Zix, and Kayn was able to kill Kha'Zix twice with the first swipe of his ult, which is really important. If you're able to let Mercy get away for even a second or two, she can get off that res. But EG did a really good job of isolating her, and really, as we talked about earlier, once you lose the point with Fire Mercy, why not just switch immediately? I mean, I can kind of tell Cassini had like 50-60% ult. He figured, well, okay, why not? I'll just go in, I'll get a barrage, but we see how difficult it is to retake this point.
Yeah.
Well, the first fight is in progress here, and EG, they've been winning the positioning battle. They take it without even a kill being shed towards the end there, and now they're piling on 3-1 as the fight breaks down, because what you saw there, EnVision had to get onto the point to just try and delay things out, and it was tough. They ended up all going down.
Hey, they're going to run their tank heavier composition here, or at least a double tank into it, and it's a good map for Reinhardt in general. One of the few stages where even when Winston was all the Vogue and Reinhardt was all but out of control maps, that you would still see him run here. Decop probably a little more comfortable being able to, put his back against his team and really just face these down these single corridors here.
Well, we do see EnVision coming in from multiple angles, some up the front, some off the back flank. Rina diving right in, almost has a Dragon Blade built up here. 5 versus 5, and here comes the Blade. Rina looking for anyone, getting stymied a bit by the early Sound Barrier, and gonna have to just sell for Decop. Blade going away, but no, actually finds Peeb towards the end. Corey, looking to be the equalizer though, picks up 3 in the back line. And the 4th, the cherry on top by virtue of Helix Rocket. My goodness.
Oh, Rina's not going quietly. At least he does get himself a trophy of Goliath on the way out. But a great little flanking visor there by Corey. He just gets himself in great position. There's nowhere to hide for most of those players. Just a perfectly executed visor there. Now, Coffee's going to come in and do a lot of the initial damage on Kayun. Finished off. 2 down already.
He got no kill credit for that, but that was effectively a double kill for Peeb.
Yep.
And the Pulse Bomb did all sorts of work there. And now EG is well positioned to keep control of this point. They never lost the point. So this is... we'll see how this works. That said, Rina picking up 2 towards the very end, so how quickly things can change.
Still at 85%. They're 1 fight away from getting the second stage and being on game point, so to speak. It's going to be interesting. No switches up really so far. They're just going to roll still with these tanks. Going to send Peeb to the right side. Try to find something there in backline. The nice hook takes out McGravy early.
EG again with a good initiation. McGravy out of it. They're healing up, and it's a last-moment sound barrier coming in here from EnVision. They don't get any kills off of it, and the Dragon Blade not matched up with the sound barrier, resulting in Rena's immediate death.
They have to use these ults because they're desperate, but the timing has been poor. Peeb again will show up in the kill feed with a couple. Saney with a desperation visor. As I said, you can't go to your grave with these barrier or these ults, so there's no reason not to use them, but just the timing of them was a little bit mistimed.
Last moment effort here. EG dropping the sound barrier, looking to secure this out. EnVision still on the point delaying, and they have 5 people here. They're damaged, but they pick up 2. They're able to persist, and they're keeping this fight in contest, and they're still keeping control of the point, no less.
That fight should have been over a while ago. I don't know how they let the reinforcements come in and get it off, but still, EG has many more ultimates to go. Still 1 fight away, but if they can't convert this one, that's going to be bad for them because the swing will go to the other side ultimate-wise.
I would say if there's a time for Decop to shine, it's now. This is a good Earth Shatter opportunity so long as Winston doesn't block it. All he has to do is just find enough targets in his face. 2 already down, which means if anyone comes in to try install it out, they're going to be the receiving end of Earth Shatter. Doesn't even matter. 3 unanswered kills here by EG. They get to save quite a bit, and Decop just gets to get his Vanity Shatter perhaps in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, just wait for them to come in and throw down the Shatter, and it should be able to stall them out. 90%. There is the Shatter, will knock down a few, and it's going to force Winston to have to go to the point all by himself. Coffee is down. They will be able to cut on the point with this Transcend.
Reyna coming in, Dragon Blade out, and I wonder if EG dove too deep because EnVision able to bring that right back.
Yeah, they're going to have a tough time, although Peeb and Kayun do combine for a couple. Decop with a mile away. Fire Strike takes down Saney.
Fire Strike comes in, and EG, despite losing the early part of this fight, coming right back in, but it's McGravy time. McGravy finds Peeb, and
they had bodies. They had bodies there. They were getting knocked a little bit around by Winston, but that's brutal.
1-1.
The thing for me is that I think with how far out you saw EG go there, I think EG thought that was more in the bag than it really was, where it was either that or they had utmost confidence in stopping anyone from touching the control point, which is easier said than done. There's just too many heroes of mobility on the EnVision side that could have touched it, and eventually it was the Winston.
And Zumiata got in there.
I mean, they had the Shatter. Like, they didn't need to throw that Shatter into the doorway to hit, like, the one Zenyatta in the back or whatever it was. I think they got a little overzealous there. They thought that the situation was better than it was. I was going to talk about how good Kayun's Roadhog was, but it didn't even really matter at the end because that Shatter came out so early and then kind of bit them in the end.
Well, EnVision once more taking this guy's Saney on the Pharah. Plenty of room for cover here on the night market, and it's a good engage so far from EnVision. They are able to take down Decop immediately, and nothing crazy here, just solid mechanical play that takes this rather decisively.
Pretty easy. When you have the combo here, you know that you're going to be playing most of the time inside the house. There's really no reason to go expose yourself in the courtyard. You will come up and poke through doorways and things like that, but you don't want to be too far away. You don't want to be too out in the open. Use the architecture to your advantage. You see Saney up here now because he's just trying to get free poke damage in to charge up the barrage, but they should be retreating the moment they see the angle they're coming from.
Saney just laying in the rockets here, weakening the Reinhardt shield, and if nothing else, this is causing a long period of time to go by when EG is not on the point. Even if this is successful, look at how much EnVision is getting from this right now, and oh, beautiful rockets onto the supports, almost picking up a double outright, and Saney, nothing stopping him, finds Goliath. That could be already a big advantage for EnVision going into this fight.
Yeah, Coffee's the only one who went down in there, and now they're just going to go back to their bread and butter, go inside the house here. Everyone outside the house is actually dying unceremoniously. The dive in into the tanks ended up getting him killed, and Reva also dying, or Rena rather, also dying, but still, they just don't really have a good enough answer to Saney in the sky, and he's just using the geography so well.
Scrap gun sometimes works, at least pressured him out, but here comes the barrage in over the top, beautiful positioning, gets one immediately, almost ended up with 3. Gets pushed back a bit, but the damage has been done. EnVision cleanly taking most of this fight as Corey eats a rocket directly to the back.
They're going to win the next fight twice, probably, too, depending on what Phasix does, because he's got the Resurrection going. Would not surprise me to see just a pure-out tempo res if by whatever reason Coffee goes down. McGravy has switched over to the Soldier 76 here, too. Corey is now on the McCree. We've seen how deadly that can be. Perhaps an attempt to try to answer in the sky. But Goliath is also going to have to be part of that. You have to commit 2 heroes to this combo.
The thing that's bothering me is that with EG running this tank setup, their approaches on the point are taking so much time where, success or fail, it's a lot of progress towards the other team. Still, 4v4 moving into this point. Decop, Earth Shatter at the ready, waiting for anyone to hit the ground so he can drop the hammer. Ends up dropping the hammer, but is immediately killed right after. Saini does not care, picks up 3 with pretty much no pressure on him.
Phasix could have played that round with his keyboard unplugged. He was just sitting on top of the house in the window for a vast majority of a lot of those fights. And perfect res there to turn what was a 4v4 back into a 6v4. Sound barrier post-resurrection as old as time.
So that was the momentum swing, I think. I don't know that they were supposed to win the indoor stage, the control center stage, and now that they did, it puts them in a really good spot because I think that they had a way better shot of winning Night Market as well as Garden, so I think that one round might actually be the nail in the coffin right now for the EG squad on this map.
Slasher, let me just ask you, do you agree with the idea that the setup that we saw there from EG where they were going all the way around was just burning off too much time, win or lose?
I mean, really, the only way that that's successful is if Phasix dies, and because Phasix did not die, then yeah, it took way too much time.
Alright, well, first fight is underway here once more. Saini sticking with the Pharah, well supported into the back. And again, just looking for high damage rockets into the back line and getting supported here by a dive from Coffee. So EnVision not just wilting into the back, they're really being aggressive and pushing into EG.
Last time that they had success on this map, EG, it was off the back of Peebo, but he goes down immediately, blinked himself right into a rocket. That's going to be tough for them, and the kills keep on coming.
Kahun right now without much of a lifeline, under pressure here in the back, and just eats the direct right to the shoulder. EnVision just feels like they've been more and more control as this goes on, and look at the angle Saini's coming in here. It's a beautiful angle. Finds Lucio towards the very end, and EG just feels a little bit shell-shocked right now.
Well, in North America, oftentimes the best answer to a Pharah Mercy is your own Pharah Mercy and then hope that your 4v4 can win on the ground. But keep them busy long enough that it gives your 4v4 that time to be able to work, but so far EG has been reluctant to try to run something like that.
They have to deal with Saini. Saini's been landing far too many rockets far too effectively right now. And here they go. They have to burn Transcendence almost in their spawn to get out. Even if EnVision loses this fight here, that's practically a win to begin with. The Resurrection comes in though, and there goes the Barrage. Gets 1 early on, looking for 2. Decop gonna get thrown out of his mech, and this is still a winnable fight for EnVision.
It is, but EG has gotten at least a couple of kills, and meanwhile they are able to sneak themselves onto the point, so they will start getting percentage, and now with Saini down, they should be able to regroup and reset. This Primal Rage was popped earlier, will stall out just a little bit, but a nice sneak capture, and again, it was because that the combo was otherwise engaged that the remainder of the team was able to win their duels, their 1v1s on the ground, and this is where we saw it flip over last time. When they lost control of the point, how do they get back in from this position?
Well, this is also where we saw Peeb have the round of his life, and he could be poised to do that again. On fire at the moment, holding onto a Pulse Bomb. Let's see what he can do to get EG back into this. Gonna throw the Pulse Bomb out, does not really get what he's looking for. Goliath down early on. Here comes the sound barrier by EG, looking to make up for that early loss. And Peeb gonna find fire, so EG with the self-destruct, that is absolutely going to seal the fight.
Airborne Ballistics doing very well as Decop comes in clutch, everyone else goes over the edge, and remember, this is a stage that Evil Geniuses won despite the combo playing very well on this map, and it was 99-0 when they just took it over, and the early advice was maybe they should switch off of the Pharmacy, but they won't do so while they have this Resurrection. I think the next fight comes in, they Dragon Blade, and they res and see what happens.
Well, assuming Phasix can stay alive here, which was easier said than done the last time we were on the garden. Phasix right now in trouble, gonna back out. Meanwhile, Saini in over the top, still well supported, and Both teams still at 6, but here comes Kaon, pulling out the blade, immediately taken down. Still, it's 2 kills to 1 in favor of EG. The tac visor, applying suppressing fire, and that's going to be enough for EG to win the fight. Now, EnVision down to their final fight for this round.
Yeah, Fozix died there, and guess who it was? It was Peebs who got him yet again. However, they will have Barrage, Primal Rage, Sound Barrier, and Resurrection here. They're going to swap off their other 2 DPS just to give a little more speed to get back onto this point.
I'm on the objective. Rally to my
For EnVision, your ideal fight here is you lose a few people early on, res them back up, and have Fozzik stay alive, but already taken down by Peeb, the Mercy Assassin himself. That said, the rest of the fight still going much more in favor of EnVision. Sadie with 3 before it's all said and done, so you got the Mercy, but not much else.
It's actually going to kind of backfire on them because they got the Mercy, which didn't give them a chance to burn Resurrection in a poor situation. I think they only lost 1, so I doubt Res was going to be coming out there, but that was the only kill they got was on the Mercy. Resurrection's still going to be available for this next fight, but any fight from EG here will take us to stage 5.
Saini right now, again, just using the terrain to his advantage, creeping up here over the top, and still landing very good damage. Oh, does not knock anyone off. Was close, but everyone able to regain their footing. So, EnVision slowly getting aggressed on here by the offensive EG, but EG's gonna have to make a move soon. They're taking so long here that they're losing a lot of their time as Kaon just gets slammed in the back.
Well, Goliath trying to put this team on his back as he gets a double kill, but all his good work is undone by the Resurrection. Nearly full strength now. The Soundbarrier did come out for EG too, so they didn't get much out of that. Decup's going to throw a self-destruct. Goliath again with a couple kills. Decup clutches 2 more.
Decop self-destructs have been on point and then some. EG with a certain advantage here as they move it forward, and Corey just gonna pop the tac visor to be sure. It's a Winston delaying things out here. Question is, has he delayed enough? And he has more reinforcements come in, but it's still gonna be a very tough mission here for Rena to buy time for the rest of EnVision to get back in.
Well, they still haven't flipped this over because Rena's on the point trying to take down Goliath. That's not a fight that I would take. Peeve is going to come in and get the clean up there. 2 kills, and EG wins the map again. As soon as they take control of it, it seems like an entirely different fight.
MVP Goliath duels Rena twice in a row
Right.
to pretty much save the point.
I still don't like the Mercy. It's not really working. It like exists and it does fine, but the reses haven't really been game changing on any of the stages that they've ran it.
Well, the final stage in which this will be settled on is going to be the control center. So we'll see just how this turns out, but EnVision looking to pull themselves out of the fire here, because remember, if EG is able to win this round, that's it. EG is up 2-0, they're in on the weekend, and EnVision is eliminated. And again, it doesn't really tell you the full story because these games have been incredibly close.
In theory, this should favor EG. This was the map that they had really at the end, and they just weren't able to close it out. But it's been bonkers between both these teams. Fozik's already taking out Corey to start this fight.
Anytime your Zen can get that level of contribution and take down a carry like Corey, it is huge. And McGravy right now in good position to pile on.
It's been Zenyatta show for the last couple of minutes, and Rena is going to take down the last few kills. They're completely one-sided for EnVision. Decop's going to suicide himself onto the point in style that was not meant to do anything except get him killed and back with his team.
So EG stuck in the position of regrouping once more, and doesn't really look like they're going to get away from their Reinhardt strategy, for better or for worse. As noted, they are running it rain, sleet, or shine in most of these cases, and see how McGravy deals with it. Where you gotta think McGravy is looking to drop this pulse bomb right on the Decop's back.
Well, the slow push is going to come in. Decop gets discorded and taken out, and the pulse bomb does not find pay dirt so far. It is Saini with a few kills for EnVision right away. Still, it's a little bit back and forth on the point, but all the numbers in favor of EnVision at the moment.
EG looking for anything to flip this right back, but Kaon gonna get stymied by the Transcendence, healing up his main target, and EG still moving in. They don't care that Kaon's down, they drop the sound barrier and dive in deeper. Corey hitting pay dirt, finding coffee early on, but Rena looking to turn the tide, gets earth shattered right down. Welcome to the floor, my friend.
Decap was just the redemption tour here. They're going to boost Corey without the visor so that he can try to clean up and charge that visor back up. They know how important it is. The full cleanup is there. They will finally take control of the point with 58% already on the board for EnVision.
My ultimate is charging.
EG back on the board. I would say for EG, they have to win about 4 team fights if they want to end this map right here. It's easier said than done, but certainly possible, and they're going in deep here. They don't even want to take the fight in the center. They want to take it in this outer corridor, but Sound Barrier comes in from EnVision. EnVision looking to punish. Here comes Attack Visor from Saini. Gets 1 early on, makes it 2, and the over-aggression from EG getting punished in turn.
I don't actually really hate the over-aggression there because they needed them to use ultimates. So when you put the pressure of them up front in the doorway, that it forces them to use ults rather than accidentally lose one and then you have to rethink your whole fight strategy. They were down ults enormously, about 4 of them. So now at least that counts as a junk rush. They equalized it a bit.
It's up to Kaon here, where Kaon is going to have a great opportunity. Corey will be in the back with Attack Visor, and Attack Visor Dragon Blade versus nothing. This should be a fight that EG can take. Kaon pulls out the blade, dives right in, and is immediately taken down by fire. The burst damage surprising perhaps even him. Now Corey going to have to blow the Attack Visor here to even this out.
Well, Transcend will come out from posits, though, just to make sure that they're able to take this fight, and now it's getting brutal for this team. 91%. If they even can get back in here, they're going to have terrible positions.
This is problematic. Kaon gets taken down before touching the point. Down goes Decop, and that is going to be EnVision fighting their way back and bringing us to what will be a final map number 3.
I'm not a fan of that aggression at the very end. I think that was overextending, even if they are down in ults. I mean, one of the... pretty much out of meta now, but Zen Ana is definitely something that can be run here.
You know, I have to say this just because it is so incredibly striking. Maybe it's the change of audio software plus just tips and advice over time, but Slasher, you have never sounded better. Ever.
Mumble, baby.
I'm just saying, like, you sound amazing right now. Everything is all coming together. That's all. I'm in awe.
You just jinxed it. We're only on qualifiers, man. You should have congratulated him at the end of the tournament. Who knows what the mic will be tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. There's a long history of things just exploding for no reason, but I still had to say something. I was compelled.
The power of Slash compels you. Defensively looks like they're setting up dive-ish. And yeah, it's going to be that Ana Zen defense.
Attackers incoming.
We've seen teams make it work. I think Rogue comes to mind the most here, especially holding up very close on top of buildings. I mean, it's very crucial that you win first fight. I mean, worst case scenario when you do this Zen Ana type of style or, you know, Mercy Zen offense is if you lose first fight, it just becomes so difficult.
Yeah, you will fight in the courtyard yet again. It does seem like the offense is going to go a little tank heavier. This is something you can run in Dorado. In fact, they're for the moment queued up on quad tanks. So Kayun is now on the Roadhog, which I think is one of the reasons they may have wanted to go here.
There are a lot of good options for Roadhog here, but running the Reinhardt in this early area, now the teams get really aggressive, it can be a bit of a gamble because there's so many ways that you can get dove on from 3 different directions at once, and it's a tough job for Reinhardt to actually stay alive in that. And here we go, we see EnVision coming in, swarming around from multiple angles. Now the question is if EG can withstand it, and for now, it's even. It's 5 versus 5, which is more in EG's favor, but they are getting poked down from all angles. However, for now, it's working out.
They're actually doing an amazing job. When you lose your Ana on a quad tank composition, that is so much of your healing out the door, and they're able to just clutch it. Kayun with the triple kill in the kill feed, already have sound barrier up, and that is as bad as it can get for an aggressive defense.
It's very, very good for EG here with what they're doing, where not only are they running something that's very meaty, now the aggressive defense doesn't have anywhere near the flank angles to come in. They just have to dive right into a sound barrier of all things. This is difficult to say the least. Rina gonna try and pull it back. Nowhere he could go. Just taken down by Decop as he swings the hammer of the victory. Shades of super right now.
Yeah, why not? There is no reason to shield it. You have a bunch of tanks back there. Those health pools are just fine and healthy. Saini will be the last to fall, and the quad tanks coming out have just ravaged this aggressive style of defense. Now, next fight, they will start having some ultimates come online, although Dragon Blade will not be one of them. They seems like they are pretty doggedly going to run triple DPS. Now, the thing is, this quad tank, they're not even going to try to really push for a high down. Maybe Peeb goes for a scoop and knocks some people off the edge, but they're fine just rolling this death ball.
Well, if nothing else I've seen from EG tonight is that they're very comfortable being ground and pound, and they're sticking to the ground, and Decop very well could be the pound here in a moment. There comes the Earth Shatter, and it knocks down 2. It's a good, solid Earth Shatter that sets up Kaun for the fall through right there. And EG, they're holding strong no matter where the attacks come from.
A nice charge will leak down. I mean, they're winning with some style, too, is what I like about them. The charge onto Ana towards the end, that was all EG yet again. They're just not really concerned with the high ground. The onus is going to be on the triple DPS to find a way in, to find a way to crack all of these giant health pools. And now look at the ultimates they still have up. They didn't have to use anything there aside from Earth Shatter.
Corey right now holding on to the grab, doesn't want to throw into Genji. Instead, drops against the wall, pulls up 3. Now we'll see if the fall through is. There's the self-destruct, takes down 2. Graviton self-destruct, where have you been in my life in recent times?
Well, a very late Blade is going to come up from Lina. He also gets the boost. We'll end up taking down Goliath, but I think unless he gets 3 Ks here, it's just not going to be enough. He's going to try to deflect. Zarya beam doesn't work. Hooked and gone. This unstoppable pile of tanks is just burning through Dorado.
EnVision is getting smashed right now. There's no other way of saying this. They dive into this pile of flesh and just die. Repeatedly. Over and over again since the payload was back in the beginning of Dorado. It's been very good execution by EG, and now we finally see a bit of adaptation coming in from EnVision where they're saying if we can't beat them, we're going to join them. A Reinhardt and Roadhog of their own have come out to try and defend Dorado last.
What those late switches mean that they're not going to have the ultimates the other team will. A giant fight in the hallway.
Party room in progress as D-Cop knocks down 4. Oh, this just goes from bad to worse right now for EnVision.
It's just a bloodbath, and they're going to have Sound Barrier to try to close this out. They know they have an enormous ultimate advantage based on all the switches that they've seen. You're going to have Sound Barrier, Self-Destruct still going to be there, and this is just not stopped. There's been no answer to it. They're trying to adapt to the world of tanks, but it just appears that EG is more familiar with this comp.
Sandy thought he was being sneaky, but Pimitsu is right there to neutralize his effect, and now he can drop a self-destruct over the top while bullying Sandy around. That's very good positioning right now by Peep, and EG is making this look easy. There's the Graviton. Here comes the self-destruct. Doesn't get anything, but might not need to. Last-ditch Graviton comes in, but absolutely nothing results from it, and EG in firm control as they punch this one right in. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining.
I've never wanted a scoreboard more than I want now, because that seemed one of the most one-sided maps I've ever seen.
I mean, it was literally the exact same story as Gibraltar. It's just, they don't know how to respond to it. They sit on that Winston on coffee for so long. The hero is so bad against Diva, Reinhardt, Zarya. Like, what are you going to do? Everything gets bubbled and you just feed ult away. And I think that we saw there for the first time how good the Lucio is with 4 tanks when they're taking damage. Like, Elkia had Sound Barrier within the first, 30 seconds of the match. You need Ana, you probably need your own Lucio, you need to get your own Roadhog. You can probably justify a Reaper Zarya comp, maybe even a Mei if you really want, because a Blizzard on the card against that is actually so good. But it's a comp that we haven't really seen a lot of. They're not even diving, they're literally just all parking the bus on the cart, and it's just so powerful. I mean, we just saw them roll through 2 maps in a row in almost record time.
Look, I have a perfect explanation, maybe Rod could back me up on this, but the reality is that there is a trend in the Overwatch community where people longingly look at wins highlights. They go, I want to be wins. I want to sit on the payload the entire game. And EG thought to themselves, you know what? If we all go tanks, we can all be wins. Rod?
I mean, you know, ever since Lucio got buffed, a lot of us theorize that, yeah, quad tank can definitely return, especially with triple tank. But most teams have tended to go either triple DPS or 2-2-2, and I think this shows exactly why quad tank works, especially as Flame mentioned, Coffee cannot stay in Winston for that long. He just does not work against that comp. And I know I've mentioned a few times, and I keep kind of harping on it, but if you run Zen Ana and you do not win the first team fight, the biggest problem is you do not have speed to get back from spawn to get good positioning on defense. They got held at the doorway on the first spawn on Dorado defense, and because they didn't have Lucio for second point, they weren't able to get back either. They only went Lucio at the very end, just not enough time to get anything going.
Like a man possessed.
Well, EG working with house money right now, where even if they got rolled over here, the odds are that the time would be relatively even. So not a lot of pressure on EG, all the pressure in the world on EnVision. And right now, our eyes on Corey as we see if this defensive McCree can really stymie the dive offense coming in here from EnVision.
McCree has always had a home on Dorado defense. The architecture of the courtyard just suits him very well. The dive will come in over top of him, and he is eliminated immediately. This kind of experimental composition getting shut down.
And that's a successful dive. There's really no other way to say that, where they pick off an early kill immediately on diving in, and it just horrifically snowballs from there. And that's the power of a dive comp when things go well, they go really well, and EnVision might be able to ride this all the way to the first point. To the defense still very far back.
I was going to sell it to him, like, hey, look, McCree on defense, and he's gone. Like, it's usually really fun to watch that battle go on, but just absolutely left on. When dive works, it works brilliantly. Still staying on, I don't know, this is just a comp that I don't see very often. This Mercy here is just throwing me for a loop. I guess they want damage boosted McCree? Yeah.
Very well could be. I mean, damage boosted McCree is effective, but it is putting a lot on Corey's shoulders here, and it's especially putting a... Oh. And he just one-shots Tracer. That is the power of a damage boosted McCree, where McGravy taken down with one shot. And now, just looking for more. Is he going to get the Genji kill? Not quite, but it's still enough to push a Genji out. It's effective.
Reva's been playing with fire, too. Corey's going to zone out with the Deadeye, and that's not even a joke anymore. Deadeye is just really good at zone outs, too. But meanwhile, 2 go down immediately, and here comes a Blade, takes down Alkia. No res this round.
Reyna diving in, has to deflect in the middle, does get Corey with the 8 of coffee, and I do feel like we are getting into a hold my beer moment here as EnVision is coming in and setting arguably an even faster time here so far. So neither team really having good showings on Dorado defense here so far. Certainly, there's a lot to be said for last on Dorado and how long teams can stall out, but EG's gonna have to wake up.
Hasn't been much of a day for defense across the board. It's just been an offensive showcase for the most part. Decop and Pibu have to be a little bit careful. I don't know if you want to go much further than that, especially with McGravy just kind of feeding his ultimate up on it. Decop does go for the solo shatter, is able to take down and out fire, so it opens up the fight nicely.
It's 2 early kills from EG, and that's really all they needed to stabilize. It's a fine Earth Shatter. It very well could have gotten Zen there as well, but Corey right now coming in should be able to clean up the rest, and EG gets some vital stabilization. And remember, with the time they set, any fight they win is a big time gain over whatever EnVision is going to be dealing with.
Yeah, I have no issue with using ults solo-y as long as they're tourniquet ults, because you just absolutely had to stop the bleeding there, stop the momentum, and get yourself reset up here. Now they're in a pretty solid position, and as long as Alkia dies, they're going to have to kill this team twice. Or doesn't die, right?
The other thing, too, is that they're going to have to dive on Corey immediately, or Deadeye is just going to have one heck of a time. Here comes a Deadeye coming out, which already should stall things out. And no, they're actually diving on the people they can get on. They line of sight Corey, and I don't like how EG positioned here. Decomp shouldn't have been that vulnerable to the left. It's a good engage by EnVision, and now let's see if they can capitalize, as everything is going their way so far.
Well, they will resurrect, but that only brings them back up to 6v6, and Alkia is going to give his life for it. They've absolutely turned it around, and I agree. They had everything they wanted there. They were zoned out. They got a little greedy. They zoned out, but then still wanted pressure in there.
Well, the problem is, if you're going to zone someone out with McCree, don't have part of your team that's vulnerable to a 6v2. EG needed the position in such a way that, okay, you're making space with Corey, and that space is just them backing off, not annihilating half of your team.
Yeah, you need to fight in sight lines. It's the same thing as when you have a Widow in your team. Fight where she can help you out and shoot. Now they do come in and feed a couple a little bit late. Corey's going to get a few kills, but it does not matter. The cart is rolling, and they can't set a faster time, but this is still an amazing offense.
It's good offenses from both sides and defenses that have been confused at best. Kaon gets a hook in on the Diva, not going to get the D-Mech here immediately, and no, Sadie is able to clear the bridge, so he's going to fall here in all likelihood. Not quite swift enough in Baby Diva to get away, and here's the thing about EG. It's really easy to stall out for this last point in Dorado, so they don't even have to really hold, but just burn another 2 minutes off the clock, and they'll be in a fine shape.
Yeah, and it's also a map that you can hold for upwards of 7 minutes on, I think is what I've seen on defense. It's odd where the defense is setting up.
There's only 2 minutes left, and this is one of the more stallable points in the entire game, so the question here for EnVision is, how do you make this a clean
I don't know
6
if
kills?
He just lost ZP. I can't hear him anymore. Maybe his mic got unplugged. Not even sure if we're still online or the stream has gone down, but I will assume the latter here.
I definitely still hear Hex. I'm not sure why he can't hear me. But
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now. All right, so we're all back. We're all good. Either way, Defense, decomp, charging in deep, perhaps a little bit too deep. Now out on an island, and yet EnVision's still getting pushed back.
Stream did go offline. I don't know if it's coming back online now, but everyone is pressing F to pay their respects.
That is weird. So, can we pause? No, we don't want to pause. We don't want to mess with the...
Yeah, I could pause now. No teams are fighting. It's really...
Yeah, I think my internet legitimately just went down. So, we'll see if it comes back on. If not, then we will deal with it. Either way, let's cast this out normally, since as far as I know, the stream hasn't gone offline. Graviton comes in late. There's the Earth Shatter moving right in. And Corey firing right back. It's EG with the whole hog, sending it right back out. And they're going to deal with that last effort beautifully. 1 minute left here for EnVision if they want to punch us through and keep open the dream of qualifying for the monthly melee this weekend.
Going to be difficult to do so. I guess you just start looking for those hero moments that you need to see. Coffee has not played a whole lot of Reinhardt today, but he might be able to get there with an Earth Shatter during it. As you mentioned, last fight, Bibu could have a self-destruct as well. Those are the only ults that will be a factor in this fight.
EG right now holding onto high ground. It's a nice hook on the Fozix. Puts him in the corner, and he's still somehow alive in this. Able to stay in, and oh my goodness, we're turning this around. He finally goes down, but some of the damage has been done. The fact they lived that long, it was a distraction, and EnVision still with the possibility of pushing this into completion.
Coffee hit the huge shatter that he had to do. Knocked down 2 up top, able to get the cleanup, and they will look like about to clutch it out. The stall is coming in. Decaf gets smushed right into the wall. The victory barrier comes down, and they will get at least another crack at this.
Deja vu.
So I will, before throwing to the analysts, I will apologize for the Comcast nation attacking there. Everything on my, like, there was no hardware failure, just something went down for a moment.
Little internet hiccup.
All right, EG. No mercy on a defense. None of this has worked for any of your teams tonight. You've all gotten screwed. You've all lost first fight. Then you can't defend first point at the end. Then you can't defend second point. Don't do it again. Do not do mercy, Alkia. Do not do mercy. God damn it.
Some people just don't want to win, you know? It's like, see how hard we can make this for ourselves. We know what we have to do, but we're just not going to do.
You feel Slasher's passion for a merciless defense here just overflowing through your ears to your head, and it doesn't happen. It just does. Well, Slasher actually rage quits out of the game. What is going on there?
I mean, EnVision just ran
Press F to pay
down.
respects.
You know this is coming. It's rough for Mercy to live through that. Why would you do it again?
Sandy's
And
actually
Jasmine coming back.
climbed up on the Zarya right now. I don't know if he's going to stay on it, but this is a smart pick if he does stay on it.
It does speak to his pool, though, too, because when I see Sani pick Zarya, I'm not like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, oh, yeah, Sani also plays Zarya. Like, he just plays so much. He's like the Swiss Army knife of this team. He's been such a good boon to this roster.
Well, Corey again going to be coming out the damage boost in McCree, hoping for more success this time than he had last time. The last early attack by EnVision was an absolute stomping where nothing could have went better for a dive. And now they leap in with Winston, able to stay alive because of the Zarya shield. Corey right now just looking for anything and is able to stop Winston from getting back over the top with the flashbang. Still though, EG is running low on actual pickoffs here, and they're gonna have to deal with another dive as it comes in.
The rotation was slow and late to get off of the high ground, through over the archway, and they get caught out in the middle of it. That's 1 kill from P, but that is it. The rest of it is all cleaned up. And yeah, it's just definitely a slow rotation. I think too often, if you're gonna hold that high ground, you gotta give up the ghost at the first sign of trouble and rotate into courtyard, or just don't even bother. Just hold courtyard.
The interesting thing about that for me as well is that they're really putting all their eggs in the Corey basket, and unfortunately Corey didn't deliver there. Did not land the shots he needed to. If you're gonna run a damage boost to McCree, you have to get some form of early pickoff. If you don't, it's just not going to end well for you. Full stop.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more to it. And now they're going to give up a lot of free push because this is where they want to set up on defense. They're not really compositionally ready to go fight on the ground in the archway. They want to set up here up top and hopefully get some kills from Corey, but he's going to get bladed upon. Oh, no.
Reyna going in is immediately taken out, so that time Corey hits pay dirt. We are in the overtime rush here where all EG needs to do is win one fight and the payload stops here. But that's going to be easier said than done. Electric Cowboy on the way in, has to cancel the Deadeye, dropping in and not getting much out of this Electric Cowboy moment. In fact, looking a bit confused as to what to go in. still a somewhat even fight in EnVision. Holding this out here, Hex is a pick up 2 more.
Yeah, Fozix and Zany have teamed up to just really deny anything going on and get the kills. That is a full cleanup on the ground. Elkia is now back alive on the Mercy, but where are they even going to set up here?
I don't know, but the real problem is this isn't overtime. EnVision is playing with free time here, so to speak, where if they were to get wiped once, that would be it. But they're making up for their lack of time bank with style. This is a disaster for EG right now, and it's not getting any worse as the sound barrier is dropped. This is a very advantaged fight for EnVision, and Decomp gonna pay the price and fall immediately.
Self-destruct comes in over the top, trying to clear out the courtyard. Does find one that Lucio is down, and it gets them off the cart long enough that it will finally stop the bleeding.
Yes, there were ultimates in play that forced them off to some extent, but they absolutely could have gone back on the payload there.
Mistakes were made, but game's still winnable. That's the real moral of the story here.
They do have 4.5 minutes, I think, or 4 minutes.
Game is winnable. Even though I just complained so hard about Elkia playing Mercy, I do think Zen Ana is the way to go. I actually think now taking a risk, which is not playing Lucio, because they have 4.5 minutes, is probably the smart way to go about it. It actually worked pretty well on Gibraltar, but it looks like Fire is going to be playing Lucio.
Here we go. We got the Reinhardt, we got the Zarya. None of this Winston Tracer. Never mind. I'll give up.
Flame, are you having a bad day?
I don't know, man. I wanted the Roadhog. I want the Roadhog, the Zarya, and like a Reinhardt or something. This comp is debatable.
Flame, look, man. So long as you have Doggo, there's no reason to ever feel upset. Remember the good things in life.
It is kind of, well, the odd pick to me is actually the Zarya in this comp, because if they're going to hold aggressive, which is, you know, the Genji Tracer that they might want to hold up here, and that's why you'd be running a Winston, so he can run aggressive, is, I guess maybe they're just very afraid of the hooks, and so Zarya is going to be the anti-Kiyun.
Be interesting to see. For Kaon, though, again, you're going to see EG just come up here and be meaty on the payload again, and whether or not it works a second time, we'll have to see. It certainly caught EnVision off guard the first time, and EnVision hasn't really altered things too much here, where they're diving right in on the payload immediately, which is actually pretty good in a situation where they have to just burn off time, period. So long as they don't get fully wiped, they'll work out, but they lose Coffee immediately, and suddenly it puts EnVision on the back foot.
Well, they saw Allied Barrier was on cooldown. Sani used it to try to get a little bit of charge on the cart, as he used it on the Winston earlier. The moment it wore off, he got hooked and deleted in. If you're going to run a Zarya to try to save people from hooks, you can't use it to try to charge up your gun. That's terrible.
Well, EG, they weren't really stopped the first time around, and so far they don't appear to be stopped the second time around. And not only you take a look at the fact that they won that decisively, but they're going to have an edge in the ult game to some extent. Rina is the exception that he'll have a Dragon Blade up, but if he doesn't hit pay dirt with that, EG's going to have a lot of momentum rolling into second. So if EnVision is going to hold this out for another 3 minutes, a stop right now would be the best way of going about it. Rina builds up the Dragon Blade and goes to the back. 4 targets in slice range, but he's pulled in immediately and taken down.
Well, they were able to pulse bomb Corey at the very least. The sound barrier was forced out, so it should be giving the offense everything that they need. They're actually going to boost Kayun. Is he even close to having whole hog? He will have it now, but is he going to use it now? Mostly, it just ill-timed, I think.
It certainly was not good timing, and EG bloodied here. Not out of the fight just yet, but Kayun should consider tactical retreat at this point because he is grossly outnumbered, and yet reinforcements are coming back in. He's gonna whole hog. He's committing deeper and gets down Coffee. Why not?
The Transcend also forced out the Graviton into that as well. Does capture 3. Can they get the cleanup? Not really. They do end up taking down Elkia at the very least. This has been a bloody courtyard fight.
This has been bloody back and forth. Arena, another Dragon Blade is out, diving to the back. Blade looking for blood, diving in on Ana, but the Zarya's shield ruining his day. Still applies pressure that causes Ana to run back, gets the dash reset in the decop, and Rina has really been the raid boss that hasn't been dealt with super effectively here, buying time as more members of EnVision roll back in.
Yet another nano boost comes out because Goliath has just been sitting back there feeding all this help to the tanks, and Corey taking advantage of it, finally gets himself a couple of kills. That should be the tipping point as it's now 5v2. Fozix has been playing well, as has Sani, but not going to be able to 1v5 the remainder of that team. $1:40 left on the clock to hit to the yellow box of victory, which is quite a ways away. They might have to use overtime to get here.
Let's talk about what this means. This means for EnVision, I think that they have enough time to get here and lose one fight. It's a 2-fight game at this point. It should not be a 2-fight game with how strong EG was on their first attack. They have managed to ferret away an incredibly dominant advantage, and they've let EnVision back into this. So either way, EnVision can be proud, but now they have a chance to stop EG right here and right now.
Well, Pulse Bomb does take down most of Coffee's health. He will go down. The counter Graviton will grab 3 on the cart. The cleanup is there. That is completely one-sided, and yet again, it is only Sani and Fozix left on the cart at the end. They will be dispatched unceremoniously. The next fight will have a nano in it as well. It's going to be interesting to see who it gets to. Kayun will be close to Whole Hog. They tried that earlier and mistimed it, so you might be safer giving it to D.Va? Not entirely sure.
Sani could be the hero here. He's gonna have a Graviton up, and there's only gonna be a Sound Barrier to deal with it. McGravy's already out of the fight. The last 30 seconds are upon us. Sani, can you put EnVision over the top? The Graviton pulls in everyone, Hex, and the fall through comes in over the top. It's a gem of an ult by Sani. It's 3 kills here from EnVision, and they are on the verge of sending evil geniuses home.
And Sound Barrier just wasn't even enough there. Beautiful Graviton, the best one we've probably seen today with the cleanup and the coordination. So much of these games have felt very scrappy. That was a full-on 6, and Arena continues to punish desuited and deleted as Peep. So even if they get onto this point, which they could maybe, Corey rewinds back in time, does not get to the cart. He needed to blink forward and he hit rewind instead.
That might be the biggest lead we've ever seen thrown away on Dorado.
We almost saw the biggest.
Almost ever. I'm not gonna say ever. I'm not gonna say ever, because maybe there's